If you've always assumed that full-frame cameras are out of your budget, think again. In this guide, we count off the best, cheap, full-frame cameras money can buy. A selection of models available for around $1,500, and in some cases, considerably less. While many of the newest and best full-frame cameras are skyrocketing in price, there are many cheap options, especially if you're willing to look at the second-hand market. This guide is to help you find them. To help you find the right model, we've listed the top 5 best, cheap, full-frame cameras and their key features, plus the things you need to consider to help you. Choose the best one for you, and as always, you can check pricing for any of these products in the description below. Like the video, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get started. Number 5, Nikon D750, best cheap Nikon DSLR. Nikon's D750 has been a popular choice of DSLR for enthusiasts, semi-pro, and pro photographers. It was overshadowed in early 2020 by the arrival of the Nikon D780. But given that it's now selling at under $750 body only, the D750 is still a very attractive proposition. Inside the D750 is 24.3MP full-frame CMOS sensor with an optical low-pass filter to cut out moire patterning. This chip is paired with an Xpeed 4 processing engine, which enables a continuous shooting rate of 6.5 FPS at full resolution. Although the D750 predates Nikon's SnapBridge technology, it has Wi-Fi connectivity to enable image sharing and remote control via a smartphone running Nikon's wireless mobile utility app. Nikon uses a monocoque design for the D750, and it is made from a mix of thermoplastic and carbon fiber, with magnesium alloy top and bottom sections. It all adds up to a rugged and solid-feeling camera. There are 51 user-selectable AF points, and the D750 gets subjects sharp very quickly, even in very gloomy conditions when you're composing in the viewfinder. As you'd expect, the image quality from the Nikon D750 is excellent up to around ISO 1600, and there's good dynamic range, but the highlight metering mode is especially useful when it's essential to avoid blown-out highlights. Nikon has covered almost every feature likely to appear on the wish list of an enthusiast photographer and added a few extra for good measure. The build quality of the camera is very good, and it strikes a great balance between the size and weight. Thanks to the large grip at the front, the D750 feels incredible in hand, particularly with larger lenses. With the mode dial, button layout, and menu system being akin to Nikon's entry-level DSLRs, any amateur photographer upgrading to full frame should feel right at home. In the D750, Nikon created a camera that got all the fundamentals right, and as a result, it remains a great all-round DSLR. Number 4, Sigma FP. Smallest full-frame camera. As you can see throughout this page, the form factors of full-frame cameras tend to look quite similar. As such, it's nice to see a manufacturer taking a bit of a risk and coming out with something that looks genuinely different. So it is with the Sigma FP, a tiny cuboid that scarcely seems like it's big enough to hold a full-frame sensor, but most assuredly is. As Sigma CEO Kazuto Yamaki tells it, the design concept for the Sigma FP was to make the smallest possible full-frame camera, thereby delivering a format suitable for travel photography. Naturally, this means a few sacrifices are made. There is no viewfinder, no mechanical shutter, no real hand grip, and no built-in flash. However, that's not to say you have to completely do without, as many of these things are available as optional add-ons. The Sigma FP is designed to be modular, which is a super interesting concept for a full-frame camera. But does it work? In our review, we were broadly positive, if a little circumspect about certain things. Fundamentally, if you want a small full-frame camera, the Sigma FP is it, and it produces great-looking images, with RAW files every bit as good as those from larger cameras. You do need to pair it with small L-mount primes for the concept to still make any sense though. Sigma subsequently released the Sigma FPL, more of a companion piece than a successor, with a high-resolution 61 nATP sensor, and the addition of an optional viewfinder to bolt onto the side. If a viewfinder is a deal-breaker for you, this is the buy, but the original Sigma FP can generally be picked up cheaper if not. Number 3, Panasonic Lumix S5, best cheap full-frame Panasonic. The Panasonic Lumix S5 has been around for a good 2 years now, and a shiny new version has very recently been announced. This makes for some terrific value among used models for sale. The Panasonic Lumix S5 II stole headlines at the start of 2023 for its comprehensive suite of video features and sub-2K price. Panasonic has made no secret of the fact that the S5 line is designed to be the full-frame equivalent of the popular video-oriented GH cameras from Micro Four Thirds. The Lumix S5 is fairly lightweight for a full-frame model. This was a response to criticisms of the heft of the first cameras in the series, the S1 and S1R. While it has plenty to entice the vlogger and video shooter, it's decent when it comes to stills, too. The Lumix S5 produces sharp, vivid images full of vibrant color and boasts a rack of useful features, including an electronic shutter for silent shooting. This can manage shutter speeds of up to 1/8000 sec. Decent, but rivals are faster. It can also use the sophisticated stabilization system to stitch together 8 separate exposures with adjustments to the sensor position, resulting in a 96 megapixel image. This was Panasonic's most affordable full-frame camera on release, and the second-hand market has been very kind to it, with models in very good and excellent condition plentifully found for less than 1K. The Leica L lens mount gives you access to an impressive range of lenses and helps cement the Lumix S5 as a very tempting and reasonably priced proposition. Number 2, Canon EOS R8. Plenty of manufacturers have marketed entry-level full-frame cameras over the years. Cameras designed to introduce photographers and increasingly videographers to the joys of shooting with a larger sensor. The Canon EOS R8 is one of the more recent efforts, a curious combination of high-end internals and an entry-level lightweight body. So, what has Canon done here exactly? Well, the EOS R8 manages to cram a full-frame sensor into a mirrorless body that weighs just 461 g, and has even managed to equip it with its cutting-edge autofocus system, thanks to borrowing both a sensor and a processor from the higher-end EOS R6 Mark II. Not only is it lighter than that camera, it's also significantly cheaper. While it can shoot at up to a decent 6 FPS with its mechanical shutter, switch to the electronic and you can have up to 40 FPS or 30 FPS in raw burst mode. There's only one card slot, there's no weather sealing, and the battery has been downgraded to a 220-shot LPE17, so for a day's shooting you'll almost certainly want a spare. More significantly, however, the EOS R8 has no built-in image stabilization, meaning you'll be completely reliant on lens IS. This makes it a curious proposition for many photographers. However, as we said up top, you can't argue with results, and the EOS R8 is capable of producing downright spectacular imagery. Considering you can get it with a lens for less than 2K, the EOS R8 makes a compelling case for itself as a first full-frame camera. Number 1. Sony Alpha A72. Best camera around $1,000 and €900. The A72 is now 2 updates old, with Sony having introduced the Sony A7 III back in February 2018 and the Sony A7 IV in October 2021. However, the A7 II is still available to buy new, and at less than $900 body only, it's a real bargain buy. The A7 II is a mirrorless camera with a 24 megapixel CMOS sensor that's harnessed to a Bion ZX processor, has 5-axis in-body image stabilization, a hybrid AF system with 117 phase detection points, 5 FPS continuous shooting, and the ability to shoot full HD video with the S-Log2 Gamma. In addition, the A7 II's magnesium alloy body is weather-sealed, and its grip is much improved upon the one on the original A7. Our tests found the A7 II is a snappy performer, and it can capture sharp images of fast-moving subjects, but is not quite up to the pace of the most recent models. It's therefore most at home with stationary or slow-moving targets. The Sony Alpha A7 II uses the Sony E mount, and there are a wide range of lenses available, so you'll be able to find one to suit your needs. What the A7 II really does well is produce superb image quality images both in bright light and low light when the ISO has to be raised. Overall, the A7 II is a highly recommended full-frame model that offers huge imaging potential in a lightweight body. It should draw the attention of those who seek one of the smallest yet most powerful full-frame cameras on the market.